As an indie author, you can do things that the book companies will not do. One is you can create extra content. You can create interstitial chapters with QR codes or whatever to access those interstitial chapters. They could earn that interstitial chapter, and interstitial meaning between two chapters, by having them visit a place and get a QR code, by proving that they bought the book, or it can be included in the book with a QR code. So Nicole Valentine, a long time ago, appeared at the Brandywine Valley Writers Group. And at the time, she was doing young adult fiction. And this was probably 10, 12 years ago. But we talked about the fact that there's so many opportunities. Used to be, there were a couple books that basically made it so that if you were reading and you walked into a Starbucks, there was a chapter that had to do with Starbucks in it. And you would get access to that by going to the Starbucks. So there's a lot of things you could do that kind of broaden the experience for the reader and make it more interesting, whether it's programmed ahead of time and they know it, or whether it's a surprise. And QR codes are pretty amazing because you could have any content. So what could you do? Well, you could take this interview, if this were relevant to your book, and put a QR code in the book and show them a podcast that they'd never be able to get the full experience of by having a printed book. But that QR code could be embedded in the book. And you don't need just one. It could be 5 or 6 QR codes. When I indie published my book of flash fiction, I had already read 7 of the stories live. And so I put a QR code behind those 7 stories so that people could watch the story as well as read it in the book. It's just a different way of thinking. How do I make my book special? How do I make it more interactive? How do I build my audience for the next book?